Always a great scene inside Bramlage Coliseum for the Wildcats and the home faithful as K-State looks to improve on their 4-1 home record already this year, and a combined 21-2 in this building under Bruce Weber. Speaking of coaches, how about Joey James? He's the interim head coach for South Dakota, taking over for the legendary Dave Boots, who retired in September after 25 years. James, a longtime assistant there for South Dakota. And the Pepsi starting lineups brought to you by Pepsi for the Coyotes. They will go with a relatively inexperienced lineup with juniors and sophomores littering the roster. And then, of course, inexperienced, the name of the game for K-State, with Foster, a one-do combination as freshmen, along with the veterans Sprouting, Southwell, and Gibson, who's been a revelation in the last 4 games since getting back into the lineup full-time for K-State. And head coach Bruce Weber, the reigning Big 12 Coach of the Year, first year ever to win the Big 12 Coach of the Year and the conference title in the history of the league. And there you see his overall record, 2 years leading the Wildcat program. Time now for the keys to victory, brought to you by the Kansas Lottery. Stan, what do you got for us tonight?
K-State's got to be patient on offense because South Dakota will pack it in. If they're playing zone or man-to-man, they're going to dare K-State to take early shots. And Coach Weber talked about getting the ball inside, how important it is to get it to Thomas Gibson. They got to play high-level defense. That's what they've become known for. We've shown you the stats earlier. They held Ole Miss to 38% field goal percentage. That's how they're winning games. And they got to make free throws. Why? When you're playing a team like South Dakota that's an underdog, the easiest way to let them back in the ball game is not make your free throws. We saw it earlier this year when K-State lost their opening game against Northern Colorado. They shot free throws so poorly. Got to make your free throws, and it's something they need to improve on anyway.
Free throws could be a big thing for all teams, really, in college basketball this year. That and outside shooting here in the early going, as everyone figures out the new way college basketball will be played. That's free points, and there's been statistics out there about scoring in college basketball up overall, a lot of it because teams are hitting free throws.
Yeah, and if they got better at making their free throws around the country, these kids have practiced dunking and making three-point shots. Once they revalue the free throw, we're going to see scoring go up even more because the percentages aren't super, but there are more free throws. What's interesting is we see the play go into December is it seems like the officials are allowing a little bit more physicality. It's different every night. You got to get used to how the officials are going to call it from what we saw last year with the physicality and this year where they started with an emphasis of getting that out of the game.
John Higgins, our lead official tonight, along with Gary Maxwell and Jeb Hartness. The tip up and controlled by South Dakota.
K-State played South Dakota last year, Brian, and Wildcats won by 20, but there was a time in the ball game where South Dakota had fought back to 44-39, so the K-State knows that this team is dangerous.
Wildcats open a man-to-man and force a turnover on an errant pass. Turnovers really have been not an issue for the Coyotes this year.
Not at all. They average only 11.1 turnovers a game, and they're on a streak right now where they've gone 7 straight games with no more than 12 turnovers in a ball game. We'll see if they can keep that against the good defense of K-State.
Wildcats have run with this starting 5 the last few games. Foster, the talented freshman, leading scorer for the Wildcats coming into this game.
We talked about Dave Boots, a longtime coach. He was a zone man.
Thomas Gibson gets started early.
Good shot. You need to get the ball to Thomas Gibson. But Dave Boots, a 25-year coach, retired, and he was a matchup zone guy. But his interim head coach, Joey James, who played for him and coached under him for 10 years as an assistant, wants to play more man-to-man.
A little pick and roll run perfectly, and Gruce, a 6'9" center for South Dakota, able to lay it in. These teams, a pretty even matchup when it comes to size.
And Trevor Gruce is a veteran. You talk about the young lineup. They have one senior starter, and that's Trevor. He cannot get in foul trouble for South Dakota.
Great look from Gibson to Southwell, who's able to get an easy 2, and the Wildcats go back in front. So Gibson putting his fingerprint on this game early. A one-do with the rebound. Coming off a double-double against Ole Miss. Again, Gibson getting some separation, but he missed the layup. And K-State gets the rebound.
If you look at the last basket for K-State, Trevor Gruce, the big man, tried to defend it, but then he realized he didn't want to get a cheap foul. So he just allowed the Wildcats Shane Southwell to dunk the ball. He knows he can't afford to get into foul trouble if South Dakota is going to have a chance.
There's not much, if any, size coming off the bench. Just Robertson at 6'8", and South Dakota beats K-State up the floor to get an easy lay-in.
Adam Thosby, a transfer, sat out last year, came from Utah State, beating the Wildcats down the court.
A lot of transfers on this team. South Dakota littered up and down the roster with first-year or second-year transfers. James, the coach, brought most of them in as the recruiting coordinator.
And yet they have 4 of their 5 starters, losing only their top scorer from last year, Javal Miles.
Name familiar to K-State fans. At K-State for a short time. Shot clock winding down to 5. Southwell trying to get it to Spradling, turns it over. Thosby has it pickpocketed from behind, still up for grabs, and K-State will eventually come away with it. So the defense, advertised at the outset, forces another turnover.
Both teams turning the basketball over. I thought Brandon Boss, taking the ball down the middle of the court for South Dakota, decided to throw the ball outside. He could have taken it and had a much better chance of scoring.
See the game plan early for the Cats, even against the zone, trying to get it inside to Gibson. Awundu has it ripped away.
You gotta have patience against this defense because you can get an open outside shot early, but you can make 5 or 6 passes and still get that shot. There's no need to just settle for the first shot.
Trey Norris, a definite pass first point guard. Inside it goes. Bruce able to separate a bit and get a shot. He's got 4.
He's a quality big man. He likes to shoot that hook shot when he turns his left. When he turns to his right shoulder, he'll try to face up and shoot a short jumper. Someone K-State's going to have to guard, or he could be a problem.
Foster lets it go and misfires. So Foster 0 for 2 from long distance. Nigel Johnson at the scores table.
It's a shot he can make, but there's no reason why he shouldn't square up and look at it rather than make it a turnaround jumper.
And a shot or a pass, either way, out of bounds to K-State. Well, the big man inside has been early good for the Wildcats. A jumper to get them started. Cats, though, trail by 2. Wildcats trailing by 2 here at these. We welcome you back to Bramlage Coliseum. The Wildcats so far just 2 made field goals, and all 6 points stand for South Dakota have come at the basket in the paint.
South Dakota's done a good job of getting the ball down to their guy, Trevor Cruz, and then getting an easy basket in transition as the Wildcats didn't set up. K-State struggling hitting 3-point shots. The most they've made in any game is 7 against Long Beach State in the game here in Manhattan. They're 0 of 3 behind the arc to start the game.
Had a couple of good looks as well. Spradling has the ball poked away. The Wildcats slow out of the gate. Gibson is out of the game. DJ Johnson has come in. Nigel Johnson also in for the Wildcats in place of Awundu. So the Cats going a bit small. Shot clock at 5. Bruce Weber shouting out the offense. A double team comes. K-State's got to get a shot off, and they don't. They turn it over and a run out the other way. And a one-handed tomahawk slam for Flack.
Tyler Flack started 19 times last year, and just a good double team by South Dakota. When they realized the shot clock was down, they went to a pressure defense for the first time. Nigel Johnson picked up his dribble.
Southwell a quick 3, not there, and a foul on DJ trying to get the rebound, and he pushed Norris out on the baseline.
Nigel Johnson is a young player, and he got himself trapped and then allowed for South Dakota to get an easy basket going the other way. That's just good defense. Great recognition. They play a defense where they pack it in, and then when they knew the shot clock was down, they attacked for the first time and got a great trap.
South Dakota playing like a veteran team on the road as they match up against the Wildcats. Last time out, the Thriller against Wyoming and lost in overtime. They've actually played 2 games against the Cowboys.
It's almost an NBA type schedule. K-State's played Long Beach State twice this year, and South Dakota's played Wyoming twice.
Difference is they scheduled the Wyoming games. Long Beach State happenstance. Foster has it poked away for a minute. Cats come back trailing by 4.
Nino Williams is in the game. He was the leading scorer in last year's game against South Dakota.
Foster trying to create something and maybe get to the line, doesn't get the call. Norris giving it up. Voss drives baseline. DJ closes out. Still a loose basketball. Everybody to the ground. Spradling out of there with the basketball for K-State, and Nigel able to sell the reach in. So the first foul of the game on the Coyotes goes against their point guard, Trey Norris. Go Paracat.com and Paracat Illustrated are K-State fans. Unmatched sources for news, recruiting coverage, and analysis of the Wildcats. Try a 7-day free trial at GoParacat.com or subscribe to Paracat Illustrated.
As you saw in the last play, Trey Norris, the point guard, is looking to pass, not to shoot. And Brandon Boss is their leading scorer, playing the off-guard position. He's going to be more aggressive.
Wildcats have down to the bench for wholesale subs here in the early going as Bruce Weber looks for a combination that works. Nino goes in, has a shot blocked.
Will Spradling is the only starter on the floor for Bruce Weber and the Wildcats.
Yeah, he visited with you about the intensity that he likes so much against Ole Miss, and clearly right now not the same level for the Wildcats as they're down a significant part here in the timeout called by the head coach of the Wildcats, who's not at all pleased.
No comparison in the K-State intensity. They're ready against Ole Miss, but there is one team out here that is playing and ready. Great cut down from the top. Recognition when you get to the post. See if a second guy is available, and Tyler Flack receives a pass from Trevor Gruce. And Trevor Gruce has had a very good start to the game for South Dakota.
Big guy that is out of Ellsworth, Minnesota.
Fourth-year starter.
Unbelievable that a year that he's had in career. Last year, fourth-team All-Summit League. This year, preseason All-Summit League. And closing in on 1,100 career points.
The Coyotes from South Dakota in their second full year of being fully eligible in Division I basketball from Vermillion, South Dakota. This is their third year in the Summit League, and they're picked 7th in the league this year.
Out of 8 teams, so that's not... It doesn't sound great, but it's a league that also includes teams like Western Illinois, North Dakota State, part of that league.
IUPUI, who often is in the tournament.
Thomas Gibson returning, missing the shot. And another rebound for the Coyotes. Bruce Weber talking about that rebound number early. Lawrence botting up with Thosby down the court, and he'll get called for the foul.
There's no reason for Amari Lawrence to do that. Bruce Weber's looking out and saying, why? Why would you bump a guy when he's across the half-court line and give him a foul? Here the Wildcats are getting the ball down to Thomas Gibson. And he just can't get to the angle to get to the backboard. Against Ole Miss in the second half, he got an angle where he could use the backboard every time from the left block. That time he's deep underneath the basket.
Spradling trying to create something with Nigel Johnson. So you got both point guards in essence out there on the court right now. Nigel trying to shovel it off to Nino. Nino wasn't ready, and the Coyotes go the other way. 3-on-1. And Spradling forced the foul to prevent the easy layup.
There are different kind of turnovers, but the worst turnover you can have is when you're along the baseline and you turn it over, throwing it back the other direction. And here's an example. Along the baseline, the freshman tries to make a pass, and if you're not on the same page, guess what? It's a run out, and the other team's got numbers. And South Dakota's taking advantage of it. Tyler Larson last year did not play because of a knee injury. Played at Casper College before that from Las Vegas, Nevada, and the junior takes advantage and gets to the other end. K-State cannot play sloppy basketball against this team.
Bruce Weber has said many times the margin of error very small for K-State right now, and for a lot of teams for that matter in college basketball. If you don't bring it, you're going to get embarrassed. And right now, South Dakota bringing it in the Octagon of Doom.
Marcus Foster's the guy you've got to get going.
Southwell unable to connect. Thomas trying to keep the ball alive. Eventually tips it back out. A little volleyball action here at Bramlage. Gibson a step before he put the ball on the court, and another turnover for the Cats. State with their 5th. As Bruce Weber with both hands out trying to get his team to play aggressive, stand, but not too fast. It's a difficult thing to do.
Hey, he wants ball movement. You see him shaking his hands. Move the ball side to side against this defense. And you'll get some open angles, which will lead to mid-range jumpers. If there's help defense, we saw it earlier on a basket where K-State was able to get into the defense and then with the help, get an easier basket. But the defensive intensity is not there for the Cats.
Bruce able to get the rebound off the missed three-pointer. Deep three for Boss. And K-State the rebound.
The Coyotes got 2 wide open three-point shots and an offensive rebound, things you didn't see in the Mississippi game.
And another turnover. Turnover's the name of the game for the Wildcats. They'll try and correct it when we come back. South Dakota, Joey James, the head coach, drawing up some good plays, and early on, good defense so far by this squad.
South Dakota very sound on defense. They have one guy who will block some shots. That's Tyler Flack, number 23. He gets his hand on the ball right there. South Dakota's going the other way. But basically, it's the help defense. It's the second guy getting there. It's not allowing K-State to finish or get the proper angle. Here's another example. Bruce not fouling, coming inside. It's the second defender that's stopping K-State. They need to make the next pass. When the help defense comes, there is somebody open. You don't need to just throw it up. You need to make the next pass. K-State already has 6 turnovers as South Dakota's defense has been very strong.
That's just 2 of 11 from the field. And then defensively, the Wildcats have seen 10 of the 12 points by South Dakota score in the paint, as Bruce and company have led the way. Flack, you mentioned the shot blocker, now with 2 of the game. The guy had 8 in a game a year ago at 6'7", not your prototypical thought, at least as far as a shot blocker, but he's got remarkable skill in that regard.
We saw his timing on that. The ball, the shooter wasn't very high in the air, but he got his hand on the ball, no foul.
Backdoor cut and the ball out of bounds. That's a Princeton play there that K-State saw quite a bit in Puerto Rico against Georgetown. A good defense by Spradling forces the turnover. 5 now for South Dakota.
Now the help defense was there, which made it hard for Brandon Boss to make the catch.
Foster trying to create. Difficult shot. 2 tips, neither one go, and the rebound to South Dakota.
Good effort by Marcus Foster, but you got to have patience in the decisions you make. It was a very low percentage shot that he ended up trying to take. It's okay to force yourself in there, but you got to be able to come to a jump stop and say, well, I don't have it. Look around, someone might be open, then go back up strong. But he forced the ball in, tried to put the ball back. Thomas Gibson was there, but the ball's not rolling in for the Wildcats so far.
K-State trying to change things up with a little full court pressure. And a 3-pointer buried by Casper Bauer.
Casey Casper Bauer shoots almost exclusively 3-point shots. He's a pretty high percentage 3-point shooter, maybe not compared to Brandon Boss, who knocks down 45% of his threes. But those are the 2 guys you got to watch, number 14 and 12. The Wildcats defense has got to know where they are.
Casper Bauer, a sharpshooter from Iowa, 39%. So he's right up there with Boss.
They say running the play to see if they can get Spradling with the double screen.
You feel like just one big play may get K-State off and running. Foster trying to spark him, hits a long 3.
The thing I like about the youngster is he does not lose his confidence on the offensive end. No matter how many he misses, he believes he's going to make the next one, and K-State needs him to think that way here in the early season.
Shooter's mentality.
And K-State doesn't have a lot of players that are hitting a high percentage of shots right now, so he needs to keep shooting.
Rawson dribbles off his own foot. Wildcats get the ball back as we take a look again at Foster.
The key is he gets squared up. Remember we tried to turn around, and this time he got square. Your percentage is going to go up tremendously. He gets squared up. And Foster makes the first 3-pointer of the night for K-State.
Foster at 34% from behind the arc, the leading 3-point shooter for the Cats coming in. Although Spradling's been hot the last few games. Good in and out ball moving here by the Wildcats. Shot clock though winding down. Foster let it fly again. Yes, again.
You can play inside out defense, but you better get to Marcus Foster.
Spradling trying to force a stealing inbound, heads to the court, but the ball will stay with the Coyotes. But Foster's starting to heat up.
Almost from the same spot, and when you've been a little cold, one of the philosophies is go right back to the spot where you made it before, get a rhythm there. And a mistake that time by South Dakota to allow him to spot up 2 times in a row. And K-State's within 5.
Wildcats trying to slow down South Dakota a little bit with a little full court pressure. The crowd starting to get into it a bit as well. Defensive intensity beginning to ratchet up for the Wildcats. An answer 3 in the face of the defender. Larson able to come back and make the shot.
He is not one of the guys known for his three-point shooting. Only his 5th three-point make of the year.
Southwell driving hard to the basket, will head to the line for 2. So Shane able to get to the line for the first time as a Wildcats in this ball game. K-State basketball brought to you by K-State's Division of Continuing Education. They provide the quality education programs you need with the flexibility you deserve. Visit distance.k-state.edu. Southwell coming off an 8.7 rebound, 4 assist game against Ole Miss the other night. And while they had 19 stand against Central Arkansas, it doesn't sound like K-State's asking Shane Southwell to go out and score 20 points a game. That's not the type of player that Shane Southwell is. No, he needs to make a few outside three-pointers when he's given an open look. He's a high-percentage guy last season. He hasn't been so far this year. And he needs to make his free throws when he gets fouled and he's working inside. And other than that, be very patient. If you only score 6 or 8 points, you can still be a factor when you're Shane Southwell because you pass the ball well. You know the defensive philosophies. Takes good angles. But when he forces the ball, I think it makes him a worse offensive player. No need for him to do that. But he needs to make his free throws. And he got 2 right there. Drive and kick. Another 3 for South Dakota and an air ball. K-State feeling some momentum as they come back down only 6.
When they started bending their knees a little more on defense, and the offense started coming around. Remember, this team's all starts with the defense for the Wildcats.
Cats are trying to get Gibson isolated downside. Tough pass. And the ball knocked out of bounds will stay with K-State. We'll head to a break. The Wildcats, though, starting to show some signs of life as that guy, Foster, starting to rise up and fire for the outside. On the strength of an 8-3 run, the Wildcats have pulled back within shouting distance of South Dakota, and a large part of it, Stan, has been Marcus Foster.
Yeah, it was late in the shot clock when he decided to go up and shoot a three-pointer. It ended up being a good decision and led to the next time down the court where he says, I can do it again. That's 6 important points. Half of K-State's points there, but he's continually worked on the defensive end, and that's the exciting thing. The coaches knew Marcus Foster when they recruited him that he was going to be able to play offense. He's had double-figure scoring in all but one game. You see him averaging 14 points. These freshmen have really stepped up. Wesley Awandu has an all-around game, and Nigel Johnson, 19 minutes, and he comes off the bench. These 3 freshmen have stepped up for the Wildcats to start the year.
7 newcomers for Bruce Weber's squad, and a lot of them fresh faces such as freshmen. And Foster, one that will excite K-State fans for a long time. How about Andy Kennedy, the Ole Miss coach, comparing him to Mitch Richmond after that game? Heady praise indeed. Shot clock here under 5. Foster's got to let it go again. He got it again. Another 3.
And he got Joey James, the coach, to clap, and I think it was sincere. He's like, if you can hit that shot against our defense, I'll hand it to you. We're going to play inside out. We're going to guard the paint, and if you can find an opening and get a shot off, congratulations.
Gibson out high. Didn't want it, but he got the foul. And not a foul that K-State needs, but on the other end, they need a lot more of this.
Step in. As he's catching the ball, he's stepping in, leaning slightly forward. And some admiration from Joey James, a player who played for South Dakota and now is the head coach. Knows a little bit about the ability to shoot the basketball. It looks like he can go out and play right now.
97-99 there at South Dakota. 10 years as an assistant, now the interim head coach. And a turnover. Awandu able to force it, but then he couldn't hang on to it, and South Dakota gets the ball right back.
Missed opportunity. Should have been a dunk at the other end for K-State.
And Spradling, as he's done all his career, number 63, charge drawn.
Will Spradling has had an issue with his chest last year, and he has a big pad right there, but he still is willing to stick his chest in and take the charge against Trey Norris. Norris has another foul. His second of the game. He stays in the game, though. They're a better team when he's playing the point guard position. He originally played at North Texas before transferring and sitting out last year.
Foster couldn't quite hit his 4th 3 in a row. South Dakota heads to the other end, trying to slow down the Wildcats, who are starting to put some things together. Rare shot from Norris, but he hits it. Just a 24% three-point shooter, and he makes that.
Trey Norris gets his 6th of the year after Tyler Larson made his 5th, so that's 6 bonus points for South Dakota. They didn't count on those guys knocking down many three-point shots.
Wildcats back to work on the offensive end. Each team starting to hit some outside threes. Spradling trying to join the fun. In and out, no good. And a one-do trying to reach in and rip the ball out of the arms of Thosby. Gets called for the foul.
When one of your guards shoots a shot from near the baseline, he may not be able to get back and help on defense. And at times, South Dakota took advantage of Will Spradling taking the shot and being toward the baseline. The Wildcats were in trouble with a 2-on-1 break, and Wesley Awandu just decided to grab toward the basketball and make sure they didn't get an easy basket.
Norris off a screen from Bruce. Thosby lets it fly, and he hits a three.
They've got 3 3-pointers from guys who don't normally take the shot.
Thosby just at 17%. Gibson, are you serious? With a follow slam.
That's the lighter weight Thomas Gibson, a quicker jump. Got to that, slammed it home.
Thomas Gibson, the big fella.
And he didn't look like he was in position. It seemed like he was further outside, but all of a sudden, up and over the top of Trevor Bruce, and he slams it home.
Thomas Gibson, if you're a K-State fan, you know the story, has lost just under 30 pounds since last year, and he says he's in the best shape of his life. We saw it there. No way that Thomas Gibson last year could have made that leap. Ball deflected out of bounds. Good defense, forcing yet another turnover. Number 8 for South Dakota. Now, you asked the question of Bruce Weber in the pregame, but his return to the K-State lineup, boy, they missed him sorely at the outset of the season.
That made a big difference after losing a game that was disappointing in Northern Colorado after they should have won. Then they went to Puerto Rico and really struggled there because he was just getting back and wasn't at his basketball rhythm. But now he's playing so much better.
K-State dissects a 2-3 zone look from South Dakota with Southwell. And now Foster with a steal in the backcourt. Foster trying to reverse slam, but Southwell there to bring it home.
Bruce Weber started full court pressing to get his defense going, and it was a smart decision, and he gets a bonus with a steal.
Timeout South Dakota as the Wildcats starting to heat up again, this time with the dunks.
Look at Marcus Foster, his knees bent in the defensive position. Didn't get it to go here, but look, 2 of the Wildcats there. Shane Southwell dunks it home. Full court pressure, man-to-man, has worked well all year long for Bruce Weber's team. And it's the thing that sparked their ball club tonight. Still behind South Dakota, but early in the game, there was very little defensive intensity for K-State. They finally picked it up.
The team that prides itself on its defense, the #1 defense in the league the last 2 years combined, is K-State. And after some early troubles there, they have ratcheted up. And the fans and the Octagon are doing loving it.
It's so much fun to see #2 play defense because we were so impressed with this offense. But in this level, as a freshman, the question is, are you going to be able to stand up on the defensive end? Are you going to value the defense? And I think the answer is yes. He does. He's going to be an all-around player.
There's another guy soon to join the Wildcats who prides himself on his defense out high, and Javon Thomas. And he'll change the look of his team as well. Gibson takes the charge inside. Thomas took a couple of those against Ole Miss.
That was a risky play there by Thomas Gibson because he slides at the last second. Very fortunate to get the call. That was close.
Well, those new rules in college basketball, that guy takes off. You can't slide in.
If he even starts the motion of his hands upward is the takeoff, not coming off the ground.
Cats may have caught a break.
That would have been Gibson's second foul. And the other one was from the top of the key, way away from the action down low.
Gibson slips, goes in, has the shot blocked by guess who? Flack
on the help side. South Dakota very good on the help side defense. Flack blocking with his left hand that time.
Bo's trying to get started, but there's Flack to follow it up. He's got 6.
Tyler Flack's the type of player just does little things. A lot of them don't show up in the stats, but he's there playing good defense on the offensive boards. Patience was one of my keys going in the game, and that's what K-State does well. It's a quick shot from 16 feet. Why settle for that? Run the offense and get a better shot.
And now Southwell, a tough foul, trying to catch Norris with a loose basketball. K-State trying to claw back into this one.
Now stand up.
Wildcats have made a late run in this first half, but still trail by 5 as we bring it back to Bramlage Coliseum. Game day starts in Barney's. Buy K-State gear on Barneys.com for the largest selection of K-State apparel and gifts anywhere, and free shipping on orders over $100.
The Wildcats have only led for the opening basket. Since then, it's been South Dakota. People will be heading to Barney's to get their gear because this will be the first time ever you'll see a K-State helmet on the same shirt with a Michigan helmet as they play for the first time in history. Every year I go to Barney's, make sure I buy a sweatshirt and a T-shirt with the bowl and the helmets facing each other with full color. And it's going to be great to have the Michigan helmet with the K-State one as they go to a bowl game in Arizona called the Wild Wings Bowl. It used to be called the Copper and the Insight, which K-State played in when it was named each of those.
Well, the Wildcats hoping for a win. More importantly, doing it against the Big Ten powerhouse, at least to the name in Michigan. What a matchup. Many years ago, K-State fans would only dream of being able to take on Michigan in a game. Spradling had his defender fall down. Couldn't get the shot off. Foster trying to create. Shot clock at 10. And Will's got to reset.
They're going to trap.
Turnover, yes.
Anytime you get under 10 seconds.
And an and-one chance for Thosby on the other end.
K-State's got to recognize the trap is coming. When you get down to 10 seconds or less on the shot clock, they're going to jump in the trap. And it's such a difference. They don't play that pressure defense outside the arc. All of a sudden, it's a surprise. You make a mistake, and they end up with an easy basket. It's the second time tonight that a steal at that position on the court has led to a layup at the other end.
Thosby misses the free throw. And K-State gets the rebound. So after the Wildcats clawed within one possession, now the game back in the hands of South Dakota. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. We'd love to see K-State get back to tie this, or at least get within one possession if possible before halftime.
Great help defense. Trey Norris stealing the basketball on the help side when K-State thought they'd gotten the ball to DJ Johnson.
This is a team defensively that has not been overwhelmingly great, South Dakota this year. But today, playing very well.
Now, you wouldn't notice it today. Great fundamentals in their man-to-man. Knowing the help angles.
Difficult shot. K-State forces, in a sense, a turnover.
Good defense there for the Wildcats. And that's the other thing that South Dakota has been able to add. We talked about 3 three-pointers made by guys who don't normally take them or make them. That's 9 extra points. Coyotes are led by as many as 11 tonight.
Wildcats trying to make some headway before halftime.
And so far, Marcus Foster hasn't been flawless, but the only guy that's looked comfortable on the offensive end.
Maxwell Johnson, fresh into the game, no. Thomas Gibson, though, able to shoot the rebound out, and a reset for the Cats.
K-State fortunate there that they're able to grab that ball. There's one of those 4 shots.
Foster. He's had to carry a lot of the load today, and he'll be at the free throw line on a silly foul from South Dakota.
Well, they're starting to guard him tighter. And that's an adjustment, nice adjustment by Joey James, the interim coach in his first year. The only thing that they've done wrong on the defensive end from South Dakota's perspective is allow Marcus Foster a couple of open looks from behind the arc.
Well, he certainly made them pay. Foster had that tough start against Northern Colorado, but since then he has been on his game.
And he had a giant three-pointer the other night against Mississippi from the left corner.
He's in double figures again for the 8th straight game.
8 out of 9.
11 for Foster. And if you're the Cats, you want to stop. Bruce trying to power in on Thomas Gibson, and I think he walked. No, a foul instead before. They'll count the shot. Yes, sir. Bruce a chance at a three-point play.
Well, I think you might be right. It looked like there's a little hop step in there. Let's see. He's going to go to his left shoulder. And it looks like he picked up his pivot foot and then took an extra step after that. But the officials were looking up top, and instead he has a chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, that's the 11th player in South Dakota history with 1,000 points, 600 rebounds in his career. And he's got 7. And now 2 fouls on Thomas Gibson. And the answer back from South Dakota after K-State had made a shot. Foster, yes, sir! Fading away, Marcus Foster, a one-man wrecking crew for the Cats in the first half. 14 now for the freshman. And a steal by Nigel Johnson when he stepped out of bounds before he could get up the court.
Wildcats have had a couple of opportunities where it looked like they were going to get a basket going the other direction and weren't able to execute and get the score.
About an 8-second difference between game clock and shot clock here. South Dakota cannot hold for the final shot.
Really no need to hold for the final shot with that kind of differential.
Bruce comes out high, that pick and roll. Boss unable to get it back to him. Now Southwell guarding him. He'll drive and lose it out of bounds. They'll say last touch by K-State. The shot clock, as you see, is at 8. Boss yet to score in this game. Leading scorer for the Coyotes. Yet they lead by 5.
Shows you how the other guys have stepped up tonight.
We talked about it earlier. You mentioned it, Stan. A number of guys have hit some threes that normally don't shoot those shots. In the meantime, Foster has carried the load for the Cats. Shot clock at 5. Boss has it. Starts to drive. The ball knocked away. Stolen by K-State. The Cats, can they get a final bucket? Southwell goes in. No, DJ can't get it to go in. Well, they're going to call a foul. Hold everything. I think a foul has been called on the rebound from DJ Johnson. They'll call the foul on Flack. It'll be his second. And they'll have to see how much time was left when the foul occurred.
Bruce Weber's got to be happy with the looks that he got right there. Shane Southwell right at the rim. Looked like he had to make it off the board when he missed. DJ Johnson had an easy tap in, it looked like, but there was some contact, and while there may be some frustration for the Wildcats that shots like that aren't going in, they may catch a big break here and get to shoot free throws.
No question, Stan. I mean, Tyler Flack has been big when he comes for those weak side block shots. He's had a couple of them already, but that could be a costly mistake there. Less than a second. And DJ Johnson at the line to shoot 2. He is 10 of 20 from the line this season.
This is one of those times where you might think about taking your guys off the lane if you're K-State. Very little chance that you're going to get a tip in with .6, and you don't want to get a foul over the back.
Well, Marcus Foster giving DJ a little bit of a help on the shooting motion for the free throw.
Has 3 straight shots. K-State doesn't make 2 right at the rim and then a free throw. They're not making it easy on themselves here right before the half.
So the first half ends. In some ways, sums it up. The Wildcats come close, but in the end, trail by 5 at the break. Let's go to Stan, who's with the head coach of the Wildcats, Bruce Weber.
Bruce, your team didn't seem like they had the energy to start the ball game. Kind of picked it up, but it's been a struggle.
Well, the way they play that pack defense, they lull you to sleep. And we talked about it. We can't let shooting dictate it. And we broke down on defense too many times to get them easy shots. And then we kind of froze a little bit. We got to push the basketball, get a little more active, take good open shots.
Good luck in the second half.
So the Wildcats get 14 in the first half from Marcus Foster. But South Dakota has invaded the octagon of doom and has played well. They lead it by 5 at the half. Found no other score in double figures for the Jayhawks, who have had a tough go of it on offense all night against that Florida defense.
The Florida basketball team is a very good program, and K-State was really boosted last year when they went to Sprint Center and won a ball game there over Florida. It was a surprise and changed the dynamics of Bruce Weber's ball club. The Jayhawks, with a lot of new players, were shocked with a late three-pointer at Colorado on Saturday. So this would be 2 losses in a row if they're not able to win, and they go to Sprint Center for their next ball game against New Mexico.
The other game that's just tipping off is Gonzaga at West Virginia. Bob Huggins' crew trying to take down the Bulldogs before K-State. We'll see them later this month.
And they'll play in Wichita. So the Wildcats going back to Wichita. They usually have one game in either Kansas City or Wichita. This year it's in Wichita. The last time they played in Wichita, they played against Bob Huggins' West Virginia team. This time it's Gonzaga. Last year, K-State played Gonzaga, and it was men against newcomers, as the Wildcats weren't used to Bruce Weber's system yet.
K-State goes to work right away with Thomas Gibson. And a tip somehow goes in. I'm not sure if that was Thomas or Lawrence. Either way, it's a bucket.
Good play out of halftime. K-State got the best look they've had in their offense, other than that early dunk by Shane Southwell at the beginning of the ball game.
Gibson gets credit for it. He's got 6. That shot went in for Thosby back in the first half. Some lower percentage three-point shooters able to hit some three-pointers for South Dakota. Part of their first half assault. Gibson trying to go to work immediately inside, and the foul on Bruce. Well, Thomas Gibson bringing his lunch pail, going to work down low.
Yeah, they had a good opportunity there. The help defense didn't come. The ball's missed. No, boy. Amari Lawrence's right hand looked like it might have been the main factor in that ball going in. We'll see what the official scorer says. The official score doesn't have as good a view as we do on that replay.
Yeah. Not sure they go back and change such a thing, but whether you think Lawrence is able to get in there. Gibson now with 7. Comes in averaging 17 points a game, 7 rebounds on 64% shooting in his last 4 contests. As Thomas makes both, he's got 8. And the Wildcats, the closest they've been in a long time. They score the first 4 points of the second half.
And they clean the rebound very well. Looks like they've got the message from Bruce Weber about how he expects them to play.
Bruce leaning in on Gibson and powering in for the bucket. Bruce with 9.
The same move that Thomas Gibson made against him, except for Gibson using his strong hand, his left hand, Bruce using his right hand. And for South Dakota, the one thing that out of the first half that's good news to add on to the other things is that Trevor Bruce had no fouls in the first half. He only had that one just a second ago.
Meanwhile, Thomas playing with 2 fouls. Foster able to pick up the errant ball. Lawrence with a left hand. So Amari Lawrence, who starts the second half, pulls K-State within a point.
K-State's got to recognize that when it appears a guy's open, if you don't get him the ball immediately on the strong side, the weak side defender is going to come for South Dakota and be there to tap it away.
Thosby trying to outlet, nearly threw it away. Boss, the leading scorer for the team, yet to score. He's got it now. And Omari kicked the ball. It'll stay with South Dakota. They'll reset the shot clock to 15.
Amari Lawrence having some good offensive play, leading to some excellent defensive play that time, getting his leg out there. It is a kick, but didn't allow the ball to be entered inside. Marcus Foster guarding Brandon Boss.
Now a foul on Omari as Thosby started his drive, so Lawrence picks up his second. He's fouled the second half. Well, Omari being called upon here. Little veteran leadership by the Wildcats for Bruce Weber, who's getting after his team from the other end.
Omari averages 12.8 minutes a game, so he has not logged big minutes this year.
And now a steal forced. Lawrence with the ball. Taps it ahead to Southwell, who can't lay it in, but I think they'll give the basket to Southwell as Flack put his hand in the cylinder.
Not how you draw it up, but a goaltend goes against South Dakota, and K-State scores. Here's the help defense by K-State on the tap away, but Omari lost the ball, so he tapped it ahead. Southwell using his right hand on a left-handed layup opportunity. And then there's the hands on the rim while the ball was on the backboard.
A shot there. K-State in the lead. And a steal by Lawrence. Almost got it to Southwell, but stepped on the out-of-bounds line. Boy, Lawrence stand has brought a whole new level of intensity to the floor here for the Cats, and the fans appreciate it.
And the crowd recognizing that. It was close. Did he have his right foot down? Otherwise, it would have been a breakaway layup. But Omari Lawrence picking up on the defensive end, and that's where the Cats have got to start playing better. And you expect them to win a ball game, you would think they're going to play good defense, and that's what they didn't have, allowing 52% in the first half.
Tough shot for Boss, and then over the back foul. And that's on Flack. That's his third. He'll have to check out.
Karim Rawson had 14 points against K-State. Will check in. He had 14 points against the Wildcats last year when South Dakota played. They've played each other 8 times, all in Manhattan. The Wildcats have won every one of them.
Gibson calling for the ball. Tries to go inside. He looked like he lost his footing as he slammed into Gruce.
Well, that's the key. You say slammed. He was more worried about the physicality of the play rather than scoring. It's a thing I thought Thomas Gibson did so well against Mississippi, is that he wasn't thinking about the defense. And when he turned, he got hit a couple of times. He didn't call a foul. Could have been a call, but he didn't worry about it. Just turned and scored. Then finally he got a 3-point play. After the Cats had fallen behind by 4 points at the 4:15 mark, they went into Gibson. He scored. But this time, he acts like he wants the contact more than the basket.
A shot there of Adam Thosby's parents, who are here watching the game. Father from England, mom from Australia. He lists Melbourne, Australia as home, but before that had listed the oft-mentioned name of Henley-on-Thames home in England. You know where that's at? Henley-on-Thames?
I do not know.
I'm guessing it's near the Thames.
And the Thames is not spelled like T-I-M-S.
No, no.
T-H-A-M-E-S.
That's the third K-State team foul.
Mom on the left, dad on the right, in case you wondered.
At least you didn't call it the Thames. They could have come over and corrected you.
They would have. Thosby, another 3, not there. Lawson trying to get the rebound. That's out of bounds. Rawson, excuse me. And South Dakota keeps the ball and the lead.
Good positioning there on the offensive boards. K-State to start the second half has been in good rebounding position, but not that time.
Pick and roll with Gruce. And he beats Southwell. 11 for Gruce.
He did a nice job of picking up his dribble when he saw the defender there, and then when he grabbed the ball, he stepped through without traveling and scored. Good feet and strategy by the big guy.
Omari Lawrence inside gets a chance at an and one. What an up and under move by Lawrence.
Omari Lawrence, a giant factor in the second half. This time drives by the defender, slices through, gets the ball to his left hand, gets it off the backboard, and K-State has a chance to tie in this ball game. The first time since about the 19-minute mark, 1 minute into the ball game.
So Lawrence with 5 points, all here in the second half. The most points he's had in the game since the Long Beach State game here, where he had 10. And with 16 minutes to go, we are locked up at 37. And a turnover as Norris dribbles right off his foot. Kansas State looking for the lead when we come back.
Amari Lawrence making a big difference for K-State in the second half with 7 points. Marcus Foster, who had 14 in the first half, has not scored, and K-State has fought back to a tie.
Foster did all the heavy lifting back in the first half with 14. Freshman has it now. Gives it back to Gibson, who can hit that shot, and does. Gibson back in double figures. He's got 10.
That's a shot he wants to add to his repertoire, to be a high-quality shooter from there. We saw the pick-and-roll action where he could take it all the way to the rim. If that's guarded and you can catch it there and score, now you become unstoppable running that play. Because Marcus Foster's the other option, and you've got to guard him.
Nigel Johnson clears the glass. K-State looking to build on their 2-point lead.
The thing you realize is K-State has not had any baskets where they get a rebound and fast break to get an easy score.
Dangerous pass from Nino Williams, and it is stolen by the Coyotes. Turnover number 13 for K-State, who had 11 in the first half. And a hand check foul on Foster on the outside. Just his first. The Cats have done pretty well when it comes to foul trouble. Spread them out across the roster.
Yeah, the thing that K-State has done well is you're playing against a South Dakota team that's gone 7 straight games with 12 turnovers or less. Tonight they've got 14 already, and they're also a team in the last 4 games that have had at least 22 free throws, yet tonight they've been to the line only 5 times.
Thomas Gibson goes out to the wing to help double, and it leaves Bruce open for an easy drive and dunk.
Trevor Bruce really a veteran, knowing what to do when he takes the ball to the basket. We've seen different moves, and that time he saw it. He had the angle to slam it.
High off the window for Nigel Johnson's first basket. Bruce Weber looked like getting after Gibson on the way down the court after that defensive assignment last time.
Well, they're bringing Trevor Bruce out high and doing pick-and-roll action.
Oh, count the basket and a foul on K-State. Foster ruled to have committed the foul after the shot. So Norris a chance at a 3-point play.
Well, here's the pick-and-roll action, and they're saying that Marcus Foster got there late, did not affect Trey Norris' shot. He already had the ball up in the air, but he'll get a chance for an old-fashioned 3-point play. And Joey James, the head coach of South Dakota, is going to some pick-and-roll action here to get his offense started in the second half as K-State's ramped up their defense.
Foster will take a seat with 2 fouls. Norris with 6 points. A final from down in Gainesville. Jayhawks go down for the 2nd straight game.
That's part of the Big 12 SEC Challenge Series, and the Big 12 has a nice advantage in that series, including a Baylor win over Kentucky, K-State win over Mississippi.
Big 12 has already clinched that series yet again. Southwell with a big offensive rebound.
And the Cyclones beat Auburn, and they've done a great job to start the year. Fred Hoiberg's ball club looking like they are one of the top teams in the country, not only the Big 12.
Well, Iowa State rocking and rolling here in the early going, no doubt about it. Oklahoma has been very good here in the early part of the season, averaging 87 a game, the Sooners.
The Big 12's RPI best in the country right now.
Wildcats didn't get it inside, if at all, that last possession. South Dakota back the other way with a 1-point advantage.
Good help defense there on the baseline by Thomas Gibson, but he looks just a little bit tired right now, and I think that's what Coach Weber is trying to do, is energize him and say you cannot let down against a guy like Trevor Bruce.
Cats lose Bruce, but Omari Lawrence again. He recovers and strips the ball. Nigel Johnson the other way, makes the basket.
Nigel Johnson using his right hand when he goes to the left side of the basket. It's worked twice off the backboard. What a steal by Omari Lawrence. It looked like Trevor Bruce had gotten away from Thomas Gibson and was going to get an easy score. Instead, it turns around and K-State's got that first fast break. in a long time.
All the C parts, and Norris able to beat Johnson to the basket. 8 now for Norris.
I think he's cramped up, asking for some help from the coach. Like, I need out of here. He got the ball up before Wesley Awandu came to the block.
Sensing the opportunity, Nigel Johnson buries a 3. And a timeout taken. Johnson's 3-point shot puts the Wildcats in front as the Cats head to a break with a bit of momentum. Well, over on the bench, Trey Norris, the starting point guard for South Dakota, getting treated a bit. Let's go back and look and see what happened.
He either came down wrong or just has exerted enough energy. He looks like he's left foot, hamstring, a little bit of everything. He's exerted a lot of energy. He leads the Summit League with assists. He has a 4-to-1 ratio, assist to turnover tonight, 6 assists, 2 turnovers. He doesn't look to shoot a lot, but he sure helps this ball club run. The third-year sophomore. He started his career at North Texas. We need to get him back on the court to finalize this game, as K-State now has worked their way from as many down as 11 to a 2-point lead.
Well, the way he's drinking the fluids over on the bench, one would think it was a cramp.
What that does is forces Casey Kasperbauer into the game and moves Brandon Boss back to the point guard. Now, last year, Brandon Boss played point guard, but he's much happier playing the off-guard position. So this is not the lineup that Joey James wants.
Boss has been held scoreless in this game. Cats have been great defensively on him. They've lost Bruce a couple of times, and Thosby and Norris most recently have been able to break out. Rawson in the corner, trying to get Bruce. DJ Johnson is coming now for Gibson and knocks the ball away. It'll stay with South Dakota. And we'll take a break again. Wildcats with a 2-point advantage. Wildcats in front by 2, and here in the second half, they haven't done it with their starting 5. They've been able to use some of those key reserves. Stan.
Well, they have Maury Lawrence coming off the bench. The senior has been amazing on defense, and then he started heating up on offense, getting to his left hand, able to score, gets to the free throw line. He has 7 points in the second half, and then Nigel Johnson also coming in from the left, using his right hand, has been able to score, and he knocks down a three-pointer. Only his 6th three-point make of the year, but it's big as K-State leads by 2. Second half, it's the guys on the bench. A couple of 7-point efforts in the second half. Lawrence and Johnson.
Well, Lawrence was a big spark for K-State, no doubt about it.
K-State not doing it with defense here in the second half, Brian, because South Dakota's made 60% of their shots. The Wildcats, though, have made 67% of their attempts.
On the inbound, Bruce whacked on the arm as he came right down the middle of the paint.
Well, that's what you can't allow when you work on baseline defensive plays. You can't let someone come to the basket that easily. And K-State's very fortunate that Trevor Bruce did not finish that with his left hand and have a three-point opportunity. He has turned himself into a very good player.
Well, he's always had a high shooting percentage, but even from the word go, he was an impact player for South Dakota. 3 double-doubles as a freshman. 10 in his career. Now the loose ball to Foster. Kansas State back with it. Up a point. Bruce with 14. Foster is 14. Those are the 2 leading scorers, but Marcus hasn't scored in the second half.
That's a straight zone here. This is not man-to-man. 2-3 look.
South Dakota flipped man-to-zone a couple of times in the first half, but for the most part stayed in man-to-man. Southwell, kind of a wild shot, and a loose ball rebound to Kasperbauer. Bruce can't follow it up. DJ with a rebound.
The basket looked like the Coyotes should have finished on it.
Foster, tough go. No, a tip try not there, but Johnson the rebound and a reset.
K-State matches that, where it looked like they had a score. Marcus Foster shot the ball a little too hard, expecting contact.
Now can the Cats create more on the offensive end? They scored 26 in the first half. They've already got 20 We're not even halfway through the second half yet.
They got the ball where they wanted along the baseline to Shane Southwell earlier, but he didn't make the next pass.
Got a blocked shot. Foster looking for a steal. And he gets called for the foul. And that'll be the third on Foster.
That's a chance not worth taking in the backcourt in the open court situation when it's your third foul. Marcus Foster had good intentions, but he must understand how quickly the whistle is going to be blown this year when you attack a guy with a basketball. And when you're as good as he is, as important as he is to log big minutes, especially on the offensive end for the Wildcats, you don't want to pick up your third foul.
Seventh foul on K-State, so 1-1 for Boss, who looks for his first points of the entire night. And a 87% career free throw shooter. He makes the first.
Another reason why you don't want to take a chance when he's that far away from the basket. You don't want to heat him up.
He makes both, so his first 2 points of the game come with 10:20 left of the second half, where they put South Dakota back in front.
He'll get a little rest before he tries to have a surge at the end of the ball game as South Dakota tries to pull off the upset. How will K-State attack the zone? Get the ball on the baseline. Right there's a good spot. Try to flash to the other big guy. Or it might open a three-point shooter. Got to think about getting the ball to Foster.
Shot clock
down.
Under 10, down to 5. Foster a deep three. Not there. And a rebound to the Coyotes.
The shot he had to take. It's not a bad shot with the shot clock going down. He got squared up.
Casper Bauer lets it fly. A quick one. K-State trying to answer back. Foster able to explode to the basket.
Great job by Nigel Johnson. First of all, beating South Dakota to the rebound. The long rebound looked like it was going to go to the Coyotes. He gets his right hand on it and speeds up the court, creates a fast break situation, and Marcus Foster gets out in front.
And a foul on Gibson. Thomas looked like he had good position, but the official right there gestured that Gibson brought his hands down. And that's 3 fouls now on Gibson.
Yeah, if his hands would have stayed straight up, they probably would have allowed that amount of contact between the two. It allowed him to play physically down there, but when he reached his hand over and made contact, it became an easy call. And Gibson has his third foul. You look down the K-State lineup and you say, who do you need into the ball game? At the end of a close game, you need Marcus Foster and Thomas Gibson, and they're the 2 guys that have 3 fouls.
The way K-State is created this year under Bruce Weber, with all of the young guys, there is not a whole lot of depth, especially in the post, should foul trouble arise. And scoring depth is also a part of that premium.
In the last ball game against Mississippi, K-State didn't have any timeouts at the end of the ball game because they had to use them when the players were a little gassed. I thought it was a very good decision at the point in the game where the Wildcats got a little tired.
Southwell trying to get himself on track. He's in double figures now with 10.
It's a trade-off. You'd like to keep your timeouts, but the fact is, Casey had to burn a couple when the players called him, and then Bruce Weber trying to give his guys some rest as they extend the minutes.
Great dribble penetration by Norris. He finds the cutter, and Flack 8 now.
His ankle looked okay on that one. And what is he trying to do? Create. He's looking for others. And we've seen Tyler Flack play his role. Just do what it takes. If they give you an opportunity to get a dunk, he executes it.
Foster tries baseline, scores again. Foster now with 18.
That's what you got to have. He can explode and get to the basket. Twice he's done that, getting along the baseline in the last couple of minutes, and each time he finished easily.
And you opened the broadcast by talking about the last time South Dakota came to this building. They made it a close game down the stretch, and K-State had to finish strong to pull away for the win. An offensive foul, no, take it instead. A blocking foul with Gibson trying to set up down on the block. And that's number 4 on Gibson, who tried to take the charge and instead is hit with his 4th foul. Wildcats with a 2-point lead over South Dakota here in the second half at Bramlage. Here's a quick stat from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt boots, the official boots of K-State basketball. Two-man game right now for the Wildcats. They need some help. Foster and Southwell doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Southwell 12, Marcus Foster 18, starting to heat up here in the second half. But the rest of the team, only 22 of the 52 points, and now some foul problems. Thomas Gibson, the big guy inside, picked up his third foul at the 9:14 mark, his fourth foul at the 7:56 mark. So in 2 minutes and 18 seconds, he picks up 2 fouls. He has 4 fouls with 7:56 left. And remember, we talked about how South Dakota has found a way, one way or another, to get to the line. We didn't think they were going to get it, but now with K-State being in the 1-and-1 so quickly, they're finally working their way back to the line, and it's not where the Wildcats want them to be. They hit their free throws at a 69% rate. And this guy right here is on a mission tonight. He's played very well in all aspects of the game. Trevor Bruce, 32 minutes of action, more than any other player in the ball game.
And now 4 out of 6 at the line. He's got 16 points. As you see Gibson on the bench with his 4. I mentioned Thomas with 10 points. I said that earlier, but they actually did go back and take away that basket they had awarded him earlier that we thought on the replay was Omari Lawrence, and they gave it to Omari. So Lawrence now with 7, and Gibson holding fast at 8.
They do have a nice screen that they could watch our great replay, so they had an opportunity to see it and change it.
Nigel trying to shoot in another 3. He got knocked after the shot. DJ Johnson, no, the rebound. Back to Nigel. The second opportunity, no. And Boss the rebound. 3-on-2 for the Coyotes. Thosby now with 11. And back and forth we go.
Good breakout opportunity by the Coyotes with good extra pass by Marcus Foster, but I think Bruce Weber wants him to take that open 3 when he caught the ball stepping into it rather than make the pass.
Foster had 14 in the first half. Drives strong here, and a block from behind, gets it back, puts it up, no. Omari on a follow.
Another block by Tyler Flack kept Foster from scoring, but the Wildcats on the offensive boards. 13th offensive rebound of the game for K-State. Unfortunately, some of those offensive rebounds did not turn into baskets. They turned into another short miss.
Bruce able to beat DJ Johnson for the basket. 18 for the big man of South Dakota.
Ties his season high. He scored more in his career. Hit a 29-point effort against Fort Wayne a couple years ago, but that was a patient, good post move against DJ Johnson.
Lawrence trying to create again, this time not able to get the teardrop to drop in. Boss with some fancy passing, and Thosby, the recipient, has got 13 points and another timeout. So you see the Thosby clan that's here to watch him.
Here's the post move. He's taking his time, no double team. Watch the drop step. Boom, what a great move to get an angle and score over his right shoulder. And then you get an example that Brandon Boss played point guard last year. He may be the shooting guard this year, but he looked very comfortable getting it to Adam Thosby. Too many easy baskets given up by K-State tonight. If you go back and watch the tape, they've had a lot more opportunities in broken court situations, taking advantage of it. And Bruce Weber's team is in a dogfight. They thought they would be against Mississippi in the last game. They didn't come prepared tonight thinking that they'd have the same type of trouble with South Dakota. They were down by 4 in their last game with 4:15 left. Came back and won against Mississippi, but they led most of the ball game. K-State's 2-2 in games decided by 10 points or less this year. And it looks like it's going to be another one of those type games tonight. Will they be able to make winning plays? Well, the Wildcats have learned something from the experience they had against Ole Miss going down the stretch.
Will Spradling has returned for K-State. And Gibson is also back with his 4 fouls. Sensing the time is right, Gibson is back in there. And the zone greets the Wildcats starting 5. Foster in and out. Couldn't get it to fall. That would have been a big one.
K-State's going to have to play better defense. The shot's not going in tonight the way they would like, but if you can shut down on defense, you don't need to score that much to win a ball game when you're down by 3. You can lock down here, but this is where South Dakota has executed well.
Flack lets it go. Not sure that was the shot that South Dakota wanted. Southwell the other way. Gets to the basket and one.
Shane Southwell showing some experience and patience. Spradling pushes the ball up court before South Dakota's defense can get set. You know how good they are on defense, but when they don't get set, you got an opportunity. Jump stop, slice, left hand off the backboard, and Shane Southwell has a chance to tie this game.
Will Short, the rebound loose to the ground. Foster has it, and a timeout called by K-State. That leaves them with only 1 remaining, but a heady play by Foster of the Wildcat bench to keep possession with the Wildcats and a chance to keep possession and take the lead. As we take a look at the updated Big 12 standings based on the results so far today, you see the Jayhawks now with 3 losses on the year. West Virginia, as we speak, leading against Gonzaga with 4 minutes to go in the half. They're up by a point, 31-30.
A lot of significant wins by the Big 12, which is why, right down here it says, #1 in the RPI.
And really not close. You go look at the RPI rating, it's a significant gap between the Big 12 and a host of other conferences who have rotated at that #2 spot.
K-State had to call that timeout, I think. Here are the standings for the conference RPI early.
There we go. That's called teamwork from the guys in the truck. Thank you very much. All over that. Southwell. A 3! Well, he missed the free throw, but he hits the 3. 17 for Southwell. And K-State zooms back in front.
That was the rhythm we saw last year when he was one of the highest percentage three-point shooters in the Big 12 conference.
Thosby nearly throws it away. Norris has returned. Boss got his man in the air. Flack in the paint. Will Short. Southwell the rebound.
Joey James probably not wanting Tyler Flack to force the shots like he has the last couple times down.
Gibson fouled, and he made it.
Shane Southwell makes the aggressive move, forces the help defense. Watch Shane bringing the ball if he has that capability. And the help defense not as quick getting there to stop him from getting to the rim. It was there by Trevor Bruce, but because he had to step over to block the shot, his guy, Thomas Gibson, was there for the rebound. K-State, their biggest lead of the night.
How about that? Again, we go back to the last meeting between these two teams. K-State won in this building on New Year's Eve by 20, 70-50, but it was a late run that got them at 20 points. It was a dip and tuck game for much of the contest, and K-State trying to duplicate the same feat. South Dakota burning that timeout. They've got 3 left. The Cavs with just 1. The arrow with South Dakota.
K-State's on a 7-0 run with a chance for 8-0. Reminds you a little of last year when K-State went on a 12-0 run after having only a 5-point lead. But this is different in the fact that South Dakota, under Coach Joey James, actually had the lead a minute or so ago.
Gibson at the line looking to finish off the 3-point play. He's got 10.
K-State 7 of 10 in their free throw shooting. Got to make your free throws if you're going to get stuck in close games.
High arc for Gibson, but he can't hit it. And Bruce the rebound.
That was a high arc. Almost had time for a dramatic pause by you for the call. It may start raining down at that end of the court.
Boy, Lawrence was screaming for a 5 count. He might have had a case. And now Foster trying to get the steal. He's fouled, and that's going to be 4 on Norris. Timeout on the floor. K-State shooting free throws the rest of the game on that 6th foul of the night. Wildcats, thanks to a late run, have pushed in front of South Dakota by 4. And it's time to name our CanadaStateCars.com player of the game.
And the player of the game is Shane Southwell with a slam to start the ball game for K-State, but it's been the second half performance where he has come in and hit shots when the Wildcats needed. He's been able to get to the rim, made his free throws, and he hit a big three-pointer. When K-State was behind, he put the Wildcats ahead.
First three-pointer of the night for Southwell. The 6th for the Wildcats, but most of them had come from Marcus Foster. But Southwell shooting greater than 50%.
He has more rebounds than any other Wildcat. An all-around performance by Shane Southwell. He's going to have to play the last 3:51 of this game well to make sure that the Wildcats win against a scrappy, well-coached South Dakota Coyote team.
K-State trying to pick up their 4th straight win and tie those hosted teams you saw in the Big 12 standings earlier at 6-3. Zone look here for South Dakota out of the timeout. The Cats at 6 of 17 from behind the arc here tonight. Shot clock at 10. Just inside the three-point line for Foster, not able to hit it. And Norris playing with 4 fouls, able to grab the rebound.
No one's worried about how many fouls they have now. They've got everybody out on the court, including the Wildcats with Thomas Gibson and his 4 fouls.
Moss, who has yet to hit a field goal. Leading scorer for the Coyotes. Can't hit that one, and Foster that clears the glass.
One of the keys in this run by K-State is such good defense on the scorers for South Dakota. They force guys who don't normally score the basketball to shoot a lot of the shots. At least the Coyotes got the ball back to Boss that time. But they've kept the ball out of the hands of the guys that could hurt them.
Gibson trying to get free down inside. Southwell lets it go, and nobody there to rebound. A missed shot by Norris and a rebound for K-State. It's like Norris got caught between wanting to pass and then shoot.
Yeah, remember, he wants to pass normally. This time, though, Boss gave him the ball in a position to score from the wing. K-State can use some time, but they need to execute and make this a 3-possession game. Leading by 4.
Lawrence nearly traveled with it. Couldn't quite get it down inside, and now a breakaway for the other way for Thosby. And he's fouled by Foster.
You see that last possession by K-State, 3 different guys had opportunities to shoot the basketball in pretty good position, but they didn't want to take the shot. Not that they got a bad shot on the drive, but that's where they have to have the confidence that they're going to make a late game shot. Instead, they don't end up with a score, and South Dakota's back at the free throw line.
Now Foster has 4 fouls. As Thosby makes the first. He has 14 points to tie a career high. And a shot of Thosby's parents. And a new career high for the product of England or Australia, depending on the part of the media guide you look at. K-State's lead is 2. And nearing 90 seconds to go.
That's more of a 3-2 zone than a 2-3 zone.
Spradling can't hit, and Gibson had an arm that was pinned as he went up for the rebound, and that'll be a foul on Boss.
On a 3-2 zone, the upside guard has to have the backside rebound. When you have a 3-2 zone, you're going to have a little guy whose responsibility it is to get the offside rebound. That's one of the hardest things about a 3-2 zone for coaches to live with. And there was an example where it hurt South Dakota.
And Thomas able to make the front end of a 1-and-1.
Jack Hartman really showed people how the 3-2 zone works when Kansas State was so good in the 70s and 80s playing it. But they always knew that backside rebound was the thing that would scare them, with sometimes a 6-foot guard like Tim Jankovic having to get a rebound.
Second free throw also good. 12 in the game for Gibson.
A big 2 points as the free throws are made.
Penn State now 8 out of 12 in the line, and a whistle away from the ball. Foul will be on Lawrence. And well into the double bonus, K-State will send Joey James's squad to the line for 2.
You got to like what Joey James is doing. Remember, he didn't know he was going to be the head coach until September. He'd been an assistant coach for a long time. He stepped up and followed the footsteps of Dave Hoots. He stepped right into Hoots.
Mosby, see his line tonight. Nearing career marks in both categories. The 15 points a career high. The rebounds just on the cusp of it. Timeout taken by South Dakota. We'll take a quick break as well, with the Wildcats trying to hold off the Coyotes. Wildcats maintaining a 3-point lead at home at Bramlage Coliseum as they try to win their 4th straight in front of the home crowd as well. And K-State looking forward to a week off before playing again on Sunday. They'd rather do that with a win in their back pocket. It has been a dogfight against a very game Coyotes team. Gibson most recently hitting a couple of free throws to push K-State's lead where it is. Foster and Southwell leading the way, also in double figures for the Wildcats. Foster with 18 points, matching for a game high. The Cats here will run some clock and try to make this a 2-possession game.
3-2 zone again by South Dakota, the 3rd different defense they've used. Did Bruce Weber draw up a play for Marcus Foster to be the first option? K-State needs to execute right here. When you got a 3-point lead, you don't rely on your defense to win the game. You got to score when you got the basketball.
Shot clock under 10. Gibson got free for a moment, pumps, got fouled, heads to the line as Flack commits his 4th.
What a great job by K-State to get the ball down low. The shot clock was running down. You thought they might have to force something, and then they got the ball to Thomas Gibson. When they needed to make a big basket against Mississippi, they got the ball right to that same spot, and it was a winning formula.
Well drawn up and executed offense, although Gibson misses the first of 2 free throws. Nigel Johnson will come in here for Foster. Little offense for defense, but reverse. Defense for offense. You're trading out Foster with his 4 fouls in the event that K-State would need a big shot down the stretch. There's the line from Gibson tonight, who came in averaging 17 a game in his last 4 games. He'll be short of that today. Omari nearly gets the rebound. It's still loose and finally picked up by Bruce. Timeout taken by South Dakota. That leaves the Coyotes now with only 1 timeout. Each team with a 60-second timeout. South Dakota with 18 fouls. K-State well into the double bonus as far as double digits in fouls. And an arrow with the Coyotes. That's a game reset for you as you see the time remaining. About a 12-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Don't need a 3 quite clearly here. Just points if you're South Dakota.
From South Dakota's perspective, you don't need a 3-pointer at this time. A lot of times you can go right to the rim and try to score. That said, from the Wildcats' perspective, you do not want to give them that 3-point opportunity. You want to get the basketball with the lead, even if they were to score. And you'd rather work with a 1-point lead and try to find a way to win than let them tie it up. Because I think it would be a dramatic point in this ball game. And one of the keys we had before the night started is make your free throws. There's an example where K-State did not score in 2 free throw opportunities, and because of it, it's a 1-possession game.
Wildcats are 9 of 15 from the line on the night. Here we go. Final 40 seconds. trying to find Boss posting up against Spradling, but Will denied it. Great defense there by Spradling. Boss, the equalizer, can't hit it. A tough night for the leading scorer of the Coyotes, and a loose ball scramble. Spradling out of there with the ball. Norris is hurt. He may be cramping again. And a foul finally in the mad scramble. The Coyotes grabbing Southwell.
K-State got a big break in the fact that Boss did not knock the shot down. He had a wide open three-point shot. And first of all, he tried to post, but when you post, usually you're going to find a way when you're a small guy to bust out and try to separate from your defender. Will Spradling, looking for the help defense, allowed him an open shot. Fortunately for K-State, there was a miss and a battle for the ball, and Spradling pulls it out. Make your free throws, one of the keys, and now Shane Southwell has a chance to make a big difference in the game. He's played so well. He's been our player of the game tonight.
1-on-1 opportunity for Southwell, who's 2 of 3 at the stripe, and he can't hit it. It's still the one-possession game. Boss comes back down with the ball. Final 10 seconds. Drews can't handle the pass, has to bat it back in play, and Lawrence able to pick it up. Oh, mistake by the Coyotes, blowing a chance at an easy bucket.
Bruce has done so much tonight, that time unable to make the catch, and there are very few turnovers in South Dakota's repertoire normally, but there's another turnover on the night. They've had too many from their perspective. K-State missed 3 straight free throws. South Dakota missed an easy basket opportunity.
Flack will foul out. Lawrence will head to the line to shoot 2. That's the 10th team foul. So the good news is that Omari will be guaranteed 2 attempts. He has scored all 9 of his points in the second half. He was the big spark for the Cats to start the second half. And he shorts the free throw.
Now Bruce Weber needs to make a decision. If they miss his free throw, does he choose to foul rather than giving South Dakota any opportunity for a 3-point prayer?
First to do a little psychological coaching for Omari Lawrence, trying to get him to relax.
Yeah, that one wasn't too close.
Foster has returned. And he missed it. And a timeout, the last for South Dakota used.
5 straight misses for the Wildcats.
Well, now, Stan, it's that question you just mentioned. Do you opt to foul right away and send South Dakota to the line for 2 rather than letting it play out?
Well, there's a couple of things to take into account. One is South Dakota's not the biggest team in the world if they went to the free throw line, because they would try to make the first and miss the second. But K-State fans know about that Northern Colorado game where at the end of the ball game, Northern Colorado twice got offensive rebounds and K-State couldn't clear the board. So that part of the game has to scare you. The one thing you want to do is make sure Boss does not get the basketball, because he is a threat. He can dribble. He can create as a point guard type and a shooting guard finisher. I would think about fouling.
Well, the officials are over at the monitor to our left, taking a look at the clock here to see where it was at when timeout was called.
Yeah, a little too much time might have run off, because as soon as they got the rebound, they called time.
We're talking about 3/10 of a second. Looks like John Higgins has decided that it will stay where it's at. So 5.6, and South Dakota has to go the length of the court.
K-State's good at full court pressing, so they could put on a light full court press, maybe a 3/4 type press to make South Dakota use some time. And then when they get near the half-court line, if you were to foul them, make sure they're not in the shot motion, because you don't want to allow them to have a 3 free throw situation. No big guys on the court for K-State right now.
Boss near midcourt. He is fouled by Nigel Johnson.
Now they'll substitute and get a big guy in for K-State. Thomas Gibson will come back in.
So you send Boss to the line, where he's had 2 points all night long, both from the free throw line.
He definitely wants to make the first one, but after that, he'll probably want to miss the second. He's a great free throw shooter, so he's able to knock it down.
Almost 90% for his career.
K-State brings in 2 big guys. They rarely play with DJ Johnson and Thomas Gibson in the game, but they've got to clear the boards here on what should be a miss on purpose.
A timeout by Bruce Weber trying to freeze Boss. A 60-second timeout, as that will be the last timeout for K-State. It's like icing the kicker.
One thing that's tough for a shooter as good as Boss is to miss.
Yep. It's a great point.
When you got your rhythm, your brain tells you how to shoot the ball, and even when you try to jack it up, sometimes your fingertips work and spin the ball, and you make a free throw. So that's not what South Dakota wants right now.
Free throws for the game, as Stan mentioned, one of the Kansas lottery keys to victory for us tonight on the broadcast was make free throws. The Cats not helping themselves down the stretch here by missing quite a few. 9 of 18 at the line. A lot of points there left out on the table, including a number of those front ends of 1-and-1s.
Well, it's a formula when you're the favorite. If things don't go well, the one dagger you can end up with is the fact that you don't make your free throws, and that's the difference in a Northern Colorado game where K-State was awful at the free throw line. This time K-State was okay until the pressure free throws, and they've missed 5 straight.
Joey James, the interim head coach, drawing up the plays where they need to try and find a way to get a shot. A miss and a make is what South Dakota needs. The Wildcats hoping for a miss and a rebound.
4 guys in rebounding position for K-State, as always 2 for the shooting team. But you got to know where everyone is. The guys behind the three-point arc, when it hits the rim, will be flying in.
And he made it.
I told you. He shot a line drive, but it went in. Now South Dakota will put pressure on, try to steal the ball or a very quick foul.
Thomas Gibson catches, and it takes a few seconds for him to be fouled.
Burned a couple seconds off the clock and was a split second as the crowd moans, thinking the ball had been released, and if that were the case, K-State would have ran out the whole clock. Strategy repeats itself right here. What is Thomas Gibson going to do at the line? He's got 2 shots. If he makes both, K-State should go back and foul again.
Remember, he missed his last 2 free throws. Prior to that, he had been 4 out of 5 at the line.
He's not supposed to think that way, though. Got to forget, like a cornerback in football.
And nothing but net for the junior big man. And a big one is coming up, no doubt. 2 seconds left, so there'll still be a chance for South Dakota. Remember, out of timeouts.
K-State has to match up right now. Don't let any long passes occur. Keep the ball in front of you, and then most likely foul.
Missed it. The rebound. Boss near midcourt for the win. Not close, and K-State will survive. K-State picks up win number 6. They get to 6-3 on the year. And now 63-3 in this building, a non-conference game since 06-07. A dogfight to the end for the Wildcats behind Shane Southwell, Marcus Foster, and Thomas Gibson pick up the win. Let's go to Stan Weber with the coach.
Coach, you got to give South Dakota a lot of credit. They fought all night long. They made it hard on your guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We expected that. I was hoping we'd play a little better. Hats off to Omari. Came in, gave us great energy, which is positive. Last game, he didn't get many minutes. West played this game. Omari made some plays. It would be nice to make some free throws, but we didn't. We found a way to win.
Shane Southwell also did a good job in the second half picking you up.
He made some shots, and that's important. We made some defensive mistakes. We gave him too many easy looks. But we won. We found a way. That's all that counts.
Another close win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bruce Weber and the Wildcats find a way to get it done and get to 6-3 on the year. The Subway final stats when we come back.